This week, a teenager faces child pornography charges for posting naked pictures of herself. McGruff the crime dog goes to prison for having over 1,000 pot plants, and grocery chain Trader Joe's abandoned its plans to open a new location because local residents are concerned that the store would attract too many white people.
Also this week, we'll be taking an exclusive look at the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. Welcome to Sick Sad World, the show that brings you the best of the worst news.
In this week's Police State Update, a car accident in Chula Vista, California left 2 victims near the brink of death. Firefighters arrived quickly, assessed the situation, and immediately began treating wounded victims. Police arrived not long after and immediately ordered the firefighters to move their fire truck. When the firefighter instead continued to treat wounded victims, the police officer arrested him. Turns out the officer didn't like his authority being challenged. Forget the accident victims, there's a cop with hurt feelings!
In religion news this week, a priest in England was outraged after a nearby casino projected a sexy image of a 30-foot-tall, semi-naked woman onto the church building. The priest asked the casino if they had any images of disrobing altar boys instead.
A vindictive tow truck driver in Manchester, New Hampshire was hired to remove a car from outside its owner's apartment complex. After offering to leave the car alone for $110, the woman who owned it managed to come up with only $100, $10 short of the decided ransom. So he towed it anyway. Because she was no longer able to get to work, the mother of 2 lost her $9 an hour janitorial job. That should help her pay off the towing company's vehicle ransom.
Now it's time for this week's look at the nation's public schools, the Day Prison Update. In accordance with Florida state law, grieving parents of a dying 8-year-old boy were threatened with criminal charges if they couldn't prove that their child was exempt from the state's standardized tests. It's never pleasant when parents have to bury their own children, but at least the parents no longer face criminal charges now that their son passed away after his lifelong struggle with cerebral palsy. What a relief it must be for them.
This week in Stupid Laws, a 16-year-old girl from Virginia is facing child pornography charges after tweeting naked pictures of herself. Child protection laws may not protect children from predators, but at least they protect children from themselves.
In other news, a predominantly African-American neighborhood in Portland, Oregon rejected plans to open a Trader Joe's grocery store location out of fear that the new store might attract too many white people. After plans were announced to build the store in a vacant lot that has sat undeveloped for a number of years, the city's mayor, along with the Portland African-American Leadership Forum, issued numerous complaints, forcing Trader Joe's to abandon the development. Sorry, foodies and white people, Portland has no room for you yuppies or your dreams of gentrification.
In an ironic twist of fate, even we here at Sick Sad World couldn't have made up on our own if we tried. John R. Morales, better known as the actor famous for playing McGruff, the crime-fighting canine, was sentenced on Monday to 16 years in prison for possession of 1,000 marijuana plants and an arsenal of weapons that included a grenade launcher. So remember, viewers, when it comes to justice, you could always take a hit out of crime, and if all else fails, just use a grenade launcher.
Police officers who shot 100 bullets at 2 innocent ladies during last summer's hunt for vigilante Christopher Dorner are returning back to work clear of blame after an investigation conducted by their friends and colleagues at the police department determined that they were innocent. Both women were badly injured, but survived. Good thing the cops have such bad aim. Somebody could have really gotten hurt.
Now we take viewers over to Sochi, the Russian city selected by Vladimir Putin himself to be the home of the 2014 Olympics. This subtropical beach resort destination reaches an average of 52 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. It was chosen to host the Winter Games despite being among the few regions of Russia that are generally too warm to receive snowfall. And no, folks, they haven't changed this year's Winter Games to volleyball or sandcastle building. The snow is being manufactured artificially with the help of 450 snow cannons blasting through 12,000 gallons of water per minute. When it comes to snowy weather, Putin seems to be applying the principles of the USSR, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. And Russia sure needs some more snow so that comrades in Sochi don't feel left out. It appears there's no shortage of tax money being taken from the Russian people to fund the Games. In fact, 97% of the 2014 Sochi Olympics budget is coming from Russian taxpayers. Now, we know what you're thinking. It's just a little extra being taken here and there to pay for some fake snow, right? Wrong. Sochi's budget overran itself by an additional $39 billion, with each event costing roughly $520 million to host, roughly $51 billion in total. With figures like that, all this money being spent's worth it, right? Well, wrong again. The cost of this winter's Games is enough to pay for a trip to Mars and back. 20 times. But that would be silly, right? Space exploration? That money is better spent on spectacles of skiing, one of the most primitive methods of transportation known to mankind. It never gets old. And speaking of primitive, we at Six Sad World just feel sorry for anyone living in the third world right now. If they could get access to cable, they'd gladly be watching the Winter Olympics right next to us, instead of using all that budget money for something frivolous like food. I mean, that stuff grows on trees.
And, in lighter news, a new way to literally bury your head in the sand is now on the market at the affordable cost of less than $40,000. That's right. This week's glimmer of hope comes to us as a light at the end of a secret underground bunker tunnel, where anyone can hide themselves away, even if they're on a budget. For less than $40K, these underground bunker homes provide shelter from zombies, radioactive fallout, peeping toms, the judgment of in-laws, whatever. Doesn't that look cozy? Now, thanks to Atlas Survival Shelters, hiding underground after a major disaster until you go insane with cabin fever has never been more affordable.
Well, that does it for this week's episode of Six Sad World. It takes a special kind of person to enjoy this content, so if you made it to the end of this episode, we need you to subscribe. A new episode is placed on this channel every Monday, giving you another reason to hate Monday. And we leave you with this week's Six Sad Soundbite.
Get that camera out of my face, I'm gonna knock your teeth out.
There's no camera in your face. There's no camera in your face.
Get out of my face. Get away from me. Get the fuck away from me.
Christ, dude.